Every generation has its own teachers, called Dor v'Dor Shav, called Dor v'Chachamav. There's a beautiful story with Choni HaMe'agel in the Gemara, a bizarre story on some level, where he went to sleep for about 70 years, and he wakes up and he looks around, tries to see what's going on. He goes to his home, people he never saw before. In the end, he just decides, okay, I'll go to the base measure. He sees two guys, steiging, working on a Gemara. They're stuck, they have kashas, a kasha, whatever, they can't get it. One says to the other, you know, if only Choni HaMe'agel would be here now, he would answer our question. He would give us the answer. You see from their personal statement one to the other, he was not just a tzaddik, he was a teacher that students felt was able to answer their questions, no matter whatever the question was. So he's here, this is, oh my gosh, I finally see something I could do in this world. He didn't fit at home, he didn't fit in, he was getting a little bit depressed. I am Choni HaMe'agel, what's your question? Let me try to answer it for you. They gave them their question, the whole sugya, and he answers it. And it didn't work for them. They weren't satisfied with his answer. He didn't solve their problem. The question is, why not? If he was the greatest teacher ever, and everyone that he came to help felt it, that he understood me, he answered me, so how come he came? Same Choni, another Gemara question, and it didn't work. Why didn't it work? He slept for 70 years. This is at least 2 generations later. In his generation, he was connected. He understood. He was the heart of the people, like David HaMelech. He understood them, he felt them, he was able to mityaches to them and to answer them, and everybody was satisfied. 2 generations later already, he's not the right teacher for them. He's the great teacher. He understands that nobody can compete with him. But he couldn't get what he had in his head into their head and their heart, because called Dor v'Dor Shav. Every generation has its teachers because those teachers are in tune and attentive to their generation, their Talmidim. There's a yachas. Without that connection, without that yachas, it doesn't work. And so right now we have to understand there's a generation out there. There's a generation out there that grew up when they grew up, how they grew up, where they grew up, when they grew up, which matches to me. When I grew up, where I grew up, there's a generation that only we can communicate to in the way that needs to be done. And so right now we have to understand, you're going to say, who am I? Mi ani, ma ani. What am I? Who am I? It's only you that can do the job.